Hi everyone. We're going to spend the next several weeks, in fact from now until the end of the course, talking about 3 additional skills that I'll ask that you incorporate into your final 2 speeches, your division speech as well as your action speech. To recap, the first few speeches, what I've asked and what those speeches have really been about has been to master a kind of natural, unique to you presentation style, to then fit that style within a thesis and main points driven structure, and then to begin thinking about using your language to create vivid word pictures for your audience to help them be right there with you with whatever subject you're describing. Now we're going to keep those as our foundational base for public speaking and then move forward with 3 additional skills. So the first additional skill will be incorporating research, expert testimony that you can rely on for the persuasiveness of your case through your next 2 speeches. So much like a research paper, I'll ask that you meet a certain minimum level of citations in each of these next 2 speeches to present experts on the topic. And that's why we spent last week talking about expertise and evidence and how to cite evidence and things of that nature. The second skill that I'll ask that you incorporate, and that's what today, next week, and then the next week are going to be about when we're talking about our boy Aristotle, are about targeted types of emotion, specifically ethos or credibility, the credibility of yourself as a speaker as well as the credibility of the people you cite in your evidence. Pathos or emotion, which is what we're talking about today, making pathetic or emotional appeals to your audience, whether it's through a story or even a galling series of statistics. And finally, logos or logical/rational appeals. But today we'll just be talking about pathos appeals and Aristotle's ideas of the different types of emotions that an audience or a speaker can evoke from that audience. And then the final skill that we're going to try to incorporate, and what we'll spend the last few weeks of the course on, is about incorporating specific types of vivid language. And so we'll look for specific types of word structures, grammatical structures like anaphora, certain types of repetition, certain types of alliteration. In other words, very formal, very specific types of vivid language to create these kinds of vivid experiences, word pictures for your audience. Now, for the next 3 weeks, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Aristotle. Today we'll talk about pathos. Next week we talk about ethos or credibility. And then finally we'll talk about logos.